Rather than lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in all parts of the world. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to a brand new video. Fabrizio Romano has been speaking about the general situation of Arsenal transfers at the moment. What are we focusing on? Who is coming in? Which deals are closed? And which player thinks Arsenal is the only club he has to sign for this summer? All that has been discussed on the Golazo podcast, and we're going to be having our reaction here on Cossy's Arsenal podcast as well. Like I said, very, very soon we'll start having these exclusive interviews with the likes of Fabrizio Romano, with the likes of Ben Jacobs. So sit tight and be very, very patient. So he's been speaking about a couple of things, and we're going to be diving into that. William Slaiba, Nuno Tavares, Tielemans, the likes of a new winger actually as well. And something very interesting there, he said, in the coming days, I will tell you, but right now, everything is under the radar. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Of course, a couple of names are being named today as well on who is going to be Arsenal's new winger, and we are still waiting. Hit the like button. Let's get this Fabrizio Romano update to 800 likes. Subscribe to the podcast as well. We are very, very close to 55, which is very interesting as well. So please make sure you keep on supporting the podcast. Now let's dive into Fabrizio Romano and what exactly he's been speaking about the Arsenal transfer situation. First and foremost, he spoke about Tielemans and the transfer situation, and he said, look, on Tielemans, Arsenal is his priority. I would love to say it's a very clear choice because the player would love to move. He would love to join Arsenal, but it's now up to Arsenal to submit a proposal and go strong for him. He's waiting for Arsenal since April. Interesting there, because a couple of people have been reporting that Arsenal no longer interested. Arsenal are looking at other targets. Arsenal do not view Tielemans as an option, but a player to wait for you. And since April, that means there is an agreement between Arsenal and Tielemans that we will actually sign him. So according to Romano, there is the player is 100% locked on the Arsenal move since April. He's just waiting for Arsenal to go strong on him. And look, yes, we've done a couple of preliminary talks with Leicester City, but that is not going strong for Tielemans. We need to go in there with a £25 million bid and very, very serious, with a very, very serious face, and tell Leicester you're either selling to us or selling to us, because Tielemans is going to be our player. And one thing I'm not really scared about this deal is I'm 100% convinced that Arsenal will show their part of loyalty to Tielemans. He's done his own part. He's a quality player, but he's decided, I'm not going to negotiate with other clubs. I'm not going to talk to other clubs. Arsenal have told me they will come back and sign me. I'll sit down and wait for my transfer to happen. Like Ben Jacobs said, we are trying to deal with the very, very complicated ones, the likes of Lisandro Martinez and Rafinha, which actually failed, the likes of Alexander Zinchenko. We understand that we had 12 clubs interested in Alexander Zinchenko. So we try to do those deals fast, and after getting them out of the way, Tielemans definitely should be the next one. So Fabrizio, wonderful update on Tielemans there, and I'm really, really grateful that he has given us that. Now, he was also speaking about Arsenal's new winger, and I'm going to be diving into that, speaking about Arsenal's winger and Arthur Melo as well. So on Arthur Melo, he says, no, at the moment, I do not see and I do not have any rumors, but so he says, at the moment, no, I see a lot of rumors, but I have no confirmation on Juventus' side, no confirmation on Arsenal's side, and no confirmation also on the player's side. He was on the list in January. Now I feel they have other very, very different priorities in that area. Something that I spoke about during the mid-morning show when we talked about Arthur Melo going to Arsenal and that deal being agreed from the likes of Daniel Pele. And I said there is no way you're agreeing an Arthur Melo deal when you have Tielemans as a priority. There is no way you're agreeing an Arthur Melo deal without outgoings. Yet we also know that a central midfielder will come in the moment when the moment outgoings are actually triggered. So according to Fabrizio Romano, at the moment, no confirmation from Arsenal, no confirmation from Juventus, no confirmation from the player side that a deal is happening. And also he was on the list since January. At the moment, not a priority. I'm gonna tell you this: Juventus and a couple of and the agents of Arthur Melo are using our interest in January, since January, to try to market Arthur Melo. Not bad, but it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm really fed up of those Italian prides in the media. The likes of Carnavelli, the CEOs, they're absolutely disgusting, dragging Arsenal's name, throughout the summer in every move, whether it's a big move, whether it's a small move, whether it is realistic, whether it is not, they drag us into there. But thank you so much to Fabrizio as well, confirming there that there is nothing for Arsenal to deal with in that situation. Arthur Melo, not a priority. Now on Alexander Zinchenko, it says Alexander Zinchenko's move to Arsenal is a matter of hours from official confirmation. With everything signed, with the player and both clubs. The player is already with Mikel Arteta and the team. So do not say, because you gave us fake news on Alexander Zinchenko. He has not signed with Arsenal. That one is a done deal. We don't need to talk about him very, very much. But I will confirm there from Fabrizio Romano, that one is a done deal as well. Now, Fabrizio has also been speaking about our selling this summer, why it is a little bit slow and why not many players have actually gone out of the window. And he said we Arsenal are really tough on the market in terms of selling players. They want to sell some players, but at their own conditions. There, Fabrizio Romano as well on Arsenal selling players. I think what Arsenal have realized here is ever since we lost the likes of Mesut Ozil, Aaron Ramsey, Jack Wilshere, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, and a couple of other transfers that we've done, it is better to sell your players at the right price. We've been very, very awful in terms of outgoings. We've been terminating players' contracts. Whoever wants to terminate his contracts, we've been doing that. Whoever wants to leave Arsenal without even a good reason, we've been doing that. And Arsenal just feel like, well, this is not the way to go. You need to we need to set our standards and we need to set our conditions. And that is what we're gonna do. So, brilliant work from Fabrizio in terms of telling us why Arsenal's outgoings are actually slower than the incomings. We want to sell, but we want to sell at our own terms. So Lucas Torreira to Fiorentina, that is why it didn't happen. They wanted to pay less than 10 million euros for Lucas Torreira. Arsenal said, to hell with that. You're not paying that low. You're not paying that insignificant figure for Lucas Torreira. Real Betis want to sign Hexa Bellerin, but reportedly they want to pay 4 million euros, 5 million euros. Arsenal are not tolerating that this summer, and all outgoings in terms of loan deals, it should be on Arsenal's conditions, and I love that. I love the sound of that. I just love it. Now, moving on to the other parts of the interview, and what exactly he was talking about. Right here, you have his take on the Nuno Tavares deal, and he says, Atalanta want Nuno Tavares. They want this man as their new left back. Brighton are also interested, but Atalanta are pushing really, really hard in the last few hours, but there is still no agreement. Arsenal always want their conditions to be respected. Now, I still remember we had a deal with Atalanta, or we were trying to negotiate a deal with Atalanta for Nuno Tavares. It was that they wanted to sign him on a loan deal plus an obligation, plus an option. Arsenal, I think, wanted an obligation. Now, I'm not really it's not yet very clear what Arsenal want to do with Nuno Tavares, but what we know is that after Alexander Zinchenko coming in and Kieran Tierney, there is a high possibility that Tavares leaves the club. So it's going to be very interesting to see, do we actually sell him? Do we actually loan him out? And when we loan him out, does he go out with an obligation to buy or option to buy? And how much do Arsenal value the player at? Because at first we thought the player is Arsenal's valuation of Tavares was around 40 million euros. So if it is around 40 million euros, are there clubs that are willing to pay that much for Nuno Tavares? I'll be very, very interested to see how much we will get in the sale of Nuno Tavares. But according to Fabrizio, Atalanta and Brighton both pushing for Nuno Tavares, but Atalanta pushing harder in the last few hours. Still, we do not have an agreement on that one. Now, let's move on to Bukayo Saka's contract and what he said about this. When he says, Bukayo Saka, from what I'm told, is really, really happy at Arsenal. He loves the club. He loves the manager because the relationship with Mikel Arteta is very, very good. I think there are very, very good chances to continue together, but it is not fully agreed yet. Now, if you remember the last time we talked about, Bukayo Saka, and all this kind of fiasco and all this kind of transfer delay, I really asked the question, why is it taking this long? Why is it taking this long? But I do not have any kind of fright in me. I'm really, really 100% sure that Mikel Arteta cannot lie. He said the team and Bukayo Saka have the same intentions. But after Manchester City making this guy a priority and Manchester City selling to Arsenal a couple of key players, could we see some kind of reciprocity mixed with the ripple effect, right? You see, they've given us two quality players, so we would want to pay them back. They want Saka, we could sell him there. That is the reciprocity. But then the ripple effect would be Arsenal getting Gabriel Jesus and Alexander Zinchenko from Manchester City, and then that ultimately influences our decision, which is also psychologically a concept of reciprocity. But that influences our decision in easing Manchester City's way to get Bukayo Saka. So, but anyway, I don't want to frighten you. Fabrizio says no. There is absolute optimism that both of these parties actually are thinking in the same direction, and they want to agree a deal. Now, on the new mystery winger, he says Fabrizio on Arsenal's mystery winger target. I would love to tell you, but at the moment, everything is under the radar. I will try to find out and tell you in the coming days. Now, he also says here about the mystery winger, and says we know Rafinha was a top target for Arsenal. Rafinha was an obsession for Arsenal because he was super appreciated, but then they decided not to enter into a bidding war. That is Fabrizio Romano on Rafinha and also on the mystery winger. A name should be mentioned in the coming days, but at the moment, right, Rafinha was at the top of the list, and we actually decided not to enter into a bidding war. On William Slaiba, from what I'm told, he says, from what I'm told, a new deal is not fully agreed or completed. They are discussing it, very positive discussions with his agent, but still not no full agreement. The plan is to continue with him and have him as a part of the team. So with William Slaiba, nothing for you lads to be afraid of, right? Nothing for you guys to be afraid of in terms of the new contract. We are working on it. We are working to reach a full agreement. Not yet there though. With this on the new winger, he says with this winger, Arsenal are looking to sign. I think they will go for it if they really trust the winger, not just signing another player. So another huge signing is coming in at Arsenal if we trust the winger, and I'll talk about that in the upcoming podcast, because Cody Gakpo, William Slaiba, according to Freddie Paxton, huge updates. I'll tell you when I see you next.